During times like these, one of the things that can so easily happen to us is that we can become discouraged or disheartened and kind of want to give up a little bit, especially when it comes to the topic of prayer. Right? Prayer is one of these wonderful gifts that God has given to us to be able to communicate with Him, to grow in our faith, to see change happen in the world. But what can happen is during hard times like now, we can go to God in prayer and I get disheartened or discouraged and want to give up because it feels sometimes like, well, did it make a difference? Did anybody hear me? Did anything change? Has anything happened because of this prayer? And we can quickly, very easily slide into this attitude of maybe I should just give up. And Jesus knew that because we're human, because there's brokenness in the world, and life gets hard at times, that we would get discouraged, that there would be times where we'd want to give up. And so he talks to his disciples and he tells them a parable. And he actually, before he even tells the parable, gives them, here's the meaning of this parable. Here's what I want you to learn. And there's two things in this parable that Jesus wants us to learn. One is how to pray, and the other is to not lose heart, to not give up when it comes to prayer. And so in Luke 18, Jesus says this. Jesus told them a parable to show them they should always pray and not lose heart. He said, in a certain city there was a judge who neither feared God nor respected people. So there's this wicked judge. He doesn't love God and he doesn't love people, right? The two greatest commandments in the whole scriptures are love God, love people. And this judge ignores both of them. There was also a widow in that city who kept coming to him and saying, give me justice against my adversary. For a while he refused, but later on he said to himself, though I neither fear God nor have regard for people, yet because this widow keeps on bothering me, I will give her justice. Or in the end, she will wear me out by her unending pleas. Now Jesus goes on to explain that what he's doing is he's comparing this wicked judge who doesn't love God, doesn't love people, to our Heavenly Father. He's saying, essentially, if this wicked judge is able to give justice, to answer the request of this lowly widow, how much more can our Heavenly Father do for us in our prayers? And so the picture that Jesus is giving to us is that when we come to God in prayer, is that we don't give up, that we constantly keep coming each and every day, right? We are reminded in the Lord's Prayer, give us this day our daily bread. And so daily we are praying to God and acknowledging to Him, here are our needs for this life. Here's what I need for today. Whether it's financially, relationally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever it might be, we say to God, here's what I need. And we keep going back to Him day after day. And so Jesus is using this image of this persistent widow saying, pray like that. Don't give up. Don't stop praying. Right? And he gives us this image of, well, if this wicked judge is able to answer it, certainly our Heavenly Father who loves us, right? The book of James reminds us that every good and perfect gift comes from our Heavenly Father. Another place in the Gospels when Jesus is talking about prayer, he has the famous verse that most people probably have memorized, right? Ask and you will receive, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be open to you. And so again, he's encouraging us to keep asking, to keep seeking God, right? So often right now we need wisdom, we need guidance on next steps and decision making. And so we need to seek God and His will for our lives. We need to ask Him for our needs and say, Lord, you love me. I'm your child. You're my Heavenly Father. Here are the needs in my life or in my loved ones' lives. And we keep asking. And I love this image. We just keep knocking on the door. We just keep pounding on that door with prayer like the persistent widow and say, God, I'm going to keep knocking until you open the door. And Jesus reminds us, though, that when we ask, we will receive. When we seek, we will find. And when we knock, the door will be open. Because our God is a loving Heavenly Father. And every good and perfect gift comes from Him. And so if you are having up and down days, if you get to those days where you are feeling a little discouraged, you're losing heart, I would encourage you to be reminded by these words from Jesus to not lose heart, to pray always, to keep asking, to keep seeking, and keep knocking. God's peace to you.